Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into what is, let's be honest, one of the trickiest parts of writing any paper, the conclusion. We're going to show you how to stop seeing it as a chore and start seeing it as your secret weapon for leaving a lasting impact.
You know that feeling, right? You've poured hours into an amazing essay, your arguments are solid, and then you hit a wall, that final paragraph. You need to wrap everything up, but how do you do it without just sounding like you're repeating yourself? It's a super common problem.
But here's the thought. What if we reframe this completely? Your conclusion isn't just a summary. It's your final pitch, your closing argument. It's the mic drop moment that makes your reader lean back and go, wow.
So how do we get you there? Well, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with why conclusions are so powerful in the first place. Then, we'll break down the anatomy of a great one. After that, we'll actually build one together, step by step, figure out how to craft that perfect final sentence, and I'll even give you a simple go-to formula for success.
Okay, first up, the power of the conclusion. Why does this one little paragraph at the end carry so much weight? Simple. It's the last thing your reader sees. It's your final chance to make your argument stick and be truly unforgettable.
So, a really great conclusion has a few key jobs. First, it has to circle back to your main point, your thesis, but say it in a new, more confident way. It also needs to briefly summarize your main arguments, just to remind the reader of the journey. But then, and this is crucial, it has to show why any of this matters. It provides that feeling of completeness, of closure, and it all wraps up with one final thought that sticks in the reader's mind.
All right, let's move on to the anatomy of the end. If you think of your conclusion like a recipe, this is the simple blueprint you need for a strong finish every time.
And you know what? There are really just 4 core parts. That's it. You restate your thesis, you summarize your key points, you show the significance, the so what, and you add that final powerful closing thought. Let's see what that actually looks like in practice.
And that brings us to section 3, building the argument's close. This is the fun part. We're going to construct a conclusion together, step by step, using a really clear example.
Step 1. Restate your thesis. Now, the number one rule here is do not, I repeat, do not just copy and paste it from your introduction. Look at the difference here. Instead of just saying online education enhances things, the better version says it has redefined education. It's the same core idea, but it's stronger, more confident, and it shows you've grown your argument.
Okay, step 2 is summarizing your key points. This is your victory lap. You're just briefly reminding the reader of the logical path you've built. The biggest, most important rule here, absolutely no new information. You're closing the door, not opening a new one.
And now for step 3. This right here is the step that separates a good conclusion from a truly great one. You have to answer the so what question. You've laid out all your facts and arguments, but why should anyone care? This is where you connect your little essay to the big, wide world.
This sentence is a perfect example of that. See how it doesn't just repeat points? It explains the real-world consequences. It links the topic of online education to the actual future of entire generations of people. Now that's significance.
All right, time for section 4, the perfect final sentence. We've built the foundation, and now it's time for the capstone. This is your chance to get a little creative and deliver that mic drop moment we've been talking about.
So, how do you actually do it? Well, you've got a few cool strategies in your toolbox. You could end with a call to action, urging your reader to think or act differently. You can make a bold prediction about the future, or you could go for something more reflective, like a powerful quote or a deep philosophical insight.
Here's a great example of a call to action. It's direct, it's got a sense of urgency, and it tells the reader, okay, based on everything I just proved, here's what we need to do next. It gives your argument a real sense of purpose.
Or you could try making a prediction. This strategy is cool because it looks ahead. It leaves your reader thinking about the future potential of your topic, giving your essay this great forward momentum, even as it's ending.
And finally, you have the philosophical insight. This one can totally elevate your whole essay. You basically zoom all the way out to a universal truth. It leaves your reader with a big, profound idea to chew on long after they've finished reading.
And that brings us to our final section, your conclusion formula. Let's put everything we've talked about together, starting with a few common mistakes to avoid, and then finishing with a super simple recipe for success.
First, let's just quickly cover the common traps. Don't just rehash your intro word for word. It just sounds mechanical. Never, ever add new arguments or info. It's super confusing for the reader. Don't end too suddenly. It feels abrupt and incomplete. And finally, try not to be too wordy. Keep it concise and powerful. If you can avoid these, you're already halfway there.
So after all that, what's the simple, foolproof formula? It's right here. A conclusion is just your restated thesis, plus a quick summary of your main points, finished off with a powerful final insight. That's it. That's the whole recipe. Simple, right? But incredibly effective.
So there you have it. You have the blueprint, you have the tools, you have the formula. The only question left is, what's your next mic drop going to be? Thanks for tuning in.